My name is Leah Marsh, and today I will be presenting my cultural geography project on cheese around the world. This presentation will focus on the history of cheese making, its evolution, and how it impacts global societies today. History. Cheese making dates back to the domestication of sheep 8,000 years ago. We believe first cheese was made accidentally. This happened when humans used containers made of animal organs like their stomachs to contain milk, and it cultured and created cheese. And ancient Egyptian tomb murals that date back 4,000 years ago show cheese making, and there was an ancient Greek god commonly worshipped named Aristeos, and he was the god of cheese making and beekeeping. And most varieties have came about in the past 500 years. The oldest varieties spread from Mesopotamia into Europe. Our first cheese we'll focus on will be feta cheese from Greece, and it is a salty cheese native to Greece, and to be considered feta it must be made of 70% sheep's milk and 30% goat's milk. Feta is most popular today when crumbled on Mediterranean salads. And it is a protected designation of origin cheese, which means it is specifically found in Greece, and all feta cheese you will see in other countries, when they are labeled, they will be labeled originally made in Greece. And our next cheese is mozzarella cheese, made in Italy, and I did not know that it was made, and it is currently made from water buffalo milk. And it is a tender, stringy cheese, and it only matures within 5 to 7 days, which is not long at all compared to most other cheeses. And there's a picture of water buffaloes, and then you will find mozzarella cheese on almost any Italian dish, such as pizza or lasagna or pasta. Our next cheese is Swiss cheese, and it is a holy cheese made from Switzerland, and the holes are made from dirt and bacteria that make air pockets when the cheese is maturing. And it is actually one of the healthiest cheeses you can eat because of how mild it is. And it is only known as Swiss cheese outside of Switzerland. And in Switzerland, it's called Emmental cheese because Emmental is the village it was originally made. On into England, you will find a funny activity called cheese rolling, and it's held in Gloucester, England, and a representative from many different nations will come and tumble after cheese down a hill, and whichever country gets to the cheese first by its representative gets to keep the cheese and hold that title. And in recent years, cheese hasn't actually been rolled down, but like a ball has, and then the winner gets cheese. That way they aren't rolling actual food down the hill. And specifically in England, cheddar cheese was developed right here in the Cheddar Reservoir area. To this day, true cheddar is aged and stored in caves due to constant temperature and humidity levels. And it is a sharp, hard cheese, and it is so sharp because it can age up to 2 years, which is a pretty good amount of time for most cheeses. So, out of Europe, cheese making spread with European colonization in the past 600 years. First, in America, we'll focus on an American favorite, Colby Jack cheese, made in Colby, Wisconsin. You can see Colby on the map right here. And Colby is actually a mix of Colby and Colby Jack cheeses, and Wisconsin is known for its major dairy industry, and actually Green Bay, Wisconsin Packers, the NFL football team, their fans are also called cheeseheads due to the area's major dairy production. Next, we'll move into Frankfort, Kentucky, which hits home for me. The term American cheese came about in a Frankfort newspaper in 1804. So, American cheese was termed in Frankfort, Kentucky, and it is defined to actually contain 51% of actual cheese and byproducts of other foods, and it must be a combination of 2 or more cheeses by FDA standards. That's the definition. And Kraft singles do not actually make this cut, even though it's considered American cheese. And Velveeta goes for the same. So are other pasteurized prepared cheese products, which are what we call cheese products that do not meet FDA standards, to be termed American cheese. And a cultural perspective to this is, could all these cheese alternatives give Americans a skewed view of true cheese? And Velveeta was invented in 1918 as a way to use extra cheese so it wouldn't go to waste. Next, we'll move into Lubbock, Texas, to focus on a major cultural misconception. Queso dip that you will find in many Mexican restaurants actually did not originate in Mexico. It originated in Lubbock, Texas. And speaking of Mexico, you will find their main cheese is a very soft cheese and mild cheese, and it is always made of cow's milk. It is called queso blanco, and you'll find it topping many dishes at Mexican restaurants. So although cheese is popular in Europe and the Americas mostly, one can find varieties outside of these regions too. So cheese abroad, first of all, we will focus on in China. And you may think, what dishes in China actually use cheese? Well, actually, 95% of Asians are lactose intolerant. So why this is because back in very olden days, like 2,000 years ago, having to milk an animal and being poor enough to make cheese for protein from that animal's milk was considered barbaric and something only a poor person would do. So people in China and Japan and many other Asian countries distanced themselves from that, and over time their bodies have adapted to not eating dairy, and that's why they are 90% lactose intolerant. So at an Asian restaurant, the only thing you may find cheese in is crab rangoons or cream cheese rangoons. So where does that cream cheese come from? Actually, cream cheese originated in New York, New York, by a dairyman who eventually founded Philadelphia Company in 1872. And you will find cream cheese in a lot of American desserts like cheesecake. Next, we'll move into India to focus on paneer. Paneer is a fresh cheese of India. It is served like cottage cheese with lemon juice. And actually, it is so mild, and it is always paired with very spicy foods to soften the spice in Indian food. And Indians love it so much that it is used at many fast food restaurants. And instead of like mozzarella cheese on a Domino's pizza, they always use paneer. And it's also used at Indian McDonald's too. Next, we'll focus on caravane from Mauritania. Mauritania is considered a part of sub-Saharan Africa, and a lot of Africans are lactose intolerant too, just because there are very few domesticated dairy animals and dairy industry in South Africa. But nomadic herdsmen have milked camels and have a business making caravane cheese from camels. And it's a mild, soft cheese, and it usually has nuts in it. And many Africans, like I said, are also lactose intolerant, but caravane is used on special occasions to show as a sign of wealth. And there's Mauritania right there. Next, into Oceania. Because Australia was once a British Empire, they really love cheddar cheese and many other British cheeses, but they've renamed cheddar themselves, and the term cheddar is not common there, but they use the term tasty cheese, and that's what they call cheddar cheese. And even though there's a huge amount of goats and sheep in Oceania and like New Zealand too, they use those mostly for wool and not for milking, so cheese production is not very high there. But they do have a lot of processed tasty cheese, and that includes cheese itself and also cheese products, like they have a Doritos alternative and a lot of other processed cheese. And in Corral in Russia, it's a type of cheese spread. Actually, they import most of their cheeses from Europe, but this spread is made from shrimp and black pepper and spread over crackers. So in conclusion, cheese plays an integral part of the social and economic cultures of nations all over the world. It is prepared to create many different meals and bonded over and perceived in many different ways globally. And this fits into the 5 themes because human environment interaction means that you have to milk animals with in order to make cheese. So that goes into major agricultural production, and it deals with region because certain regions have different perceptions of cheese, and it deals with movement because different cheese recipes have moved over the world as people have spread out and globalization has occurred. Thank you.